Hello and welcome to the first game of Game Curmudgeon Plays Hanabi with his friends. I'm the Game Curmudgeon. I'm gonna be trying a new game for y'all today. It's it's not a new game, but it's a new game for a series, and I'm not sure how well it will work. One issue is that this game is kind of mentally intensive. So it can kind of be a tough or a difficult thing to play it and speak at the same time. And you may notice that in this first video. And then, especially if things go wrong, which they don't in this first video I'm going to give you all today, because I've actually already played this game. It will be a pretty good game, but if things go wrong, it almost takes all of my mental faculties to clear the situation up and figure out what to do, and I sometimes forget to talk. That's slightly evident probably in some of the video that will be attached to the end of this. But maybe not. I actually haven't, gone through the whole thing, and I remember the game well, and it was a good game. But I do kind of want to introduce the game to you, in case you may not be familiar with the game. Hanabi's a great game. It won the Spiel des Jahres, I believe, a couple of years ago, which is essentially the German Game of the Year. It's one we've played for a long time. We played it with cards that we kind of made ourselves, because you could not buy the game for a couple years after it had come out in Japan. And we weren't very good at it, but we enjoyed it and would play it a lot. But over time we've progressed and gotten much better, and we started playing online, and that jumped our plays way up. And of course, then you get a lot better, and you start to work out a lot of the logic of the game, and you take out the memory. The game can be played in a couple of different ways. When you do play it with cards with friends around a table, a lot of memory can be involved in the game, so you've got to remember clues that you've given to people, and clues that they give to you. And of course, you can ask people questions sometimes about what they know and stuff. But that it's a different type of game, and both games can be very fun to play. But it's I enjoy the logic aspect of the game much more, and the way the game is played on the site that we're playing, which is BoardGameArena.com. The typical play style of most of the people that play the game tend to follow the logic of the game with less memory. And in my opinion, the game does become very, very good. But, we can get into a lot more about that later. Let's go over some of the basics. The basics are, it depends on the level you play at, but most people start with a 50 card deck of 5 suits. The suits are colors, green, yellow, red, blue, and white. After you've played it a little bit, some people add a 6th suit. This you can see a couple of the cards here. This rainbow colored suit, and we tend to call it the multicolor suit in my game circle. This is supposed to make it a little harder. I actually think, as far as getting the perfect score of the 30, it actually is a little easier than 5 suits. I believe 6 suits is probably the easiest way to play the game. 5 suits is the second easiest, and then there are other ways to make it harder down the road, which is not in the scope of this video, and I won't get into it at this time. But the idea behind the game, it is a cooperative game. So the people that are playing are friends, and you are working together to try to put on the best fireworks display that you can. That's, of course, a very abstract concept. And the way that is represented is by playing these colored cards, or these suits of red, yellow, green, blue, white, and the multicolor suit in sequential order from 1 to 5. So at the beginning of the game, the playable cards, and of course we're playing 6 suited here, the playable cards are the 1 red, the 1 yellow, the 1 green, the 1 blue, the 1 white, and the 1 multicolor. If any of those get played out of someone's hand, it's a good play and it goes to the tableau. If any other card is played, 2 red for instance, or well in this situation a 2 that we arbitrarily picked at random here, a 2 red is a legal play at this time because a red 1 has been played. But if a 2 yellow was played now, we would get a bomb, and you will get a red token in this area here that stipulates that you have bombed. If you bomb 3 times, you essentially lose the game. So on your turn, you always can do, or almost always can do, one of 3 things. You can either give a clue to somebody else about cards in their hand. I think I forgot to say this, but one of the caveats of the game is you cannot see your own hand. If I am Cybot CB here, and you'll notice I have 5 cards in my hand, I cannot see those cards in the interface here, but I can see the cards in my partner's hands here. Jules Ann, these are her cards, and then these are Kubikaruma's cards. I also know that, of course, Kubikaruma cannot see his cards, but he can see mine and Jules Ann. And we exploit that fact heavily during a game of Hanabi. I know what Julie can, I know she can see his hand, so I might play or give a clue to him, knowing that it will also inform her a little bit about her hand if I give the clue correctly. For instance, if I were to give, and this is not a good situation that I've randomly pulled up here, but if I were to give a clue, if this 1 green was in Julie's hand and I gave a 2 green clue to Kubikaruma, I can essentially possibly get a 1 green played out of her hand, even though I did not give her the clue, because she can assume that I would not give him that clue unless she had something, because we hope to assume that nobody's an idiot around the table here. Anyways, so that's the base way the game works. So you either give a clue to somebody, you play a card, or you can discard a card to the discard pile. And the discard pile is below here, and that is, of course, open information as well, because we know exactly what is in all of these suits of cards. The entire deck in this particular game is 60 total cards, and we each have 5 cards in our hand, so the deck starts at 45 cards. And we start at 8 clue tokens. There are a limited number of clue tokens. When you discard a card, you gain 1 of those back. And also, if you successfully play a 5, you get 1 of those back as well. That is the nuts and bolts of the game rules. There are a couple of conventions. Now, I wouldn't call them conventions. They all come from logic that happen. If you on the site that we play on, and I do want to go over that because we exploit that heavily during the game that you're going to see here in a moment. If you discard a card, we assume that you are usually going to discard the card from the oldest spot in your hand. When you take a card out of your hand, either by playing it or discarding it, all 4 of these cards that are left will shift down to the right here, and the new card will come into this slot here. So the logic behind the discarding of always the oldest card is because that card has stayed in your hand for the longest, and if it were worth telling you about, we would have told you about it long before it got to that point of your hand. So if a card is in this slot, we usually assume it is discardable unless we know something about it. For instance, in this random situation here, Julie has a 5 clue on that card. Because there is only 1 5 of any color, those become very important, and you cannot discard those cards if you would like to score a perfect score. So she knows not to discard this. So her discard slot becomes this slot in the future. The other thing is if you are clued to, or if you are clued, if a partner is clued in a way that makes you feel like you should play from your hand, you usually, and there are of course exceptions to all of these rules, which is where the real fun of the game comes in, you should usually play from your newest spot, which is this slot. And the logic behind that being that we tend to be waiting for cards to come into our hand. They're in this deck, and we're rifling through this deck trying to find the yellow 2 or the blue 3 or something to progress the game, and we're just waiting for somebody to draw that card. So when it comes in, it always comes into this newest slot. So if somebody gives a clue of a blue 5 to somebody, and you look around the table, obviously in this situation, if somebody were to be clued a blue 5, and I looked around the table and I said, why would somebody give a blue 5 clue when the blue 5 is not playable at this time? Only a 3 blue is playable. If I look around at everyone else and nobody else has a 4 blue in this play spot here, I must be the one that has it. So, and we call that a finesse, and there are variations on that as well of reverse finesses and even possibly fake finesses. And I'm not sure if any of that came up in the game that we played earlier this evening, but if it did, then I hope I commentated that at some point well enough for you to understand. Again, this is a work in process. I'm not sure how well this game will come off on YouTube, but I did kind of want to go over how the game is played between me and my friends, and possibly maybe kind of record a little history of me and my friends playing this game, because we do enjoy it so much. Hope you enjoy the video. This may not be something I do all that often. Like I said, it is fairly mentally taxing to try to play and commentate the game at the same time. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comment area below. And if you, I do love the game, so I might play some more. I did try to record a couple of more videos of this on some of the other games we played, but they kind of got into harrowing situations, and I cut the mic because I just wasn't sure, because I kind of quit talking because I was trying very much to figure out the way out of the situations that we had gotten into. And to be honest, the video that got included was probably the most boring game, but it's the one that I remained semi-coherent throughout the entire play of the game. So if maybe I can get better to the point where I will be able to remain coherent on some of the pull your hair out games, and maybe it's really, I shouldn't care about being coherent. Maybe I'll try to record one in the next few days or in the next week or so, where maybe it's something does blow up and I put that out. But I did want to get one out that shows how the game does work, because I've been wanting to do this for a little while, because from what I can tell, there's no real plays of Hanabi on YouTube at all, and I feel like that's something that could get out there, and maybe people could learn from, or get better at, or maybe explain to me what I'm doing wrong in certain situations. I'm not sure if I made any mistakes in this game or not, but I hope you all enjoy it, and have fun gaming. Good luck. Thanks. Bye. Hello. This is the first game of a game Curmudgeon plays Hanabi. Playing with my friends Jules Ann and Kubi-Kuruma here. It is Kubi-Kuruma's turn, and we are trying to play. Cannot see the number of clues we have. We have 8 at this time. You can count them: 3, 3, and then 2 more here. And then this is the play area. We play the cards into this area. We have to play them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that order. And then this is the discard area here down below that we can look and see what is available. Matt has given me a 1 clue, which is interesting because I would have thought he would have given the 1 clue to Jules Ann instead. I cannot play the 1 though at this time because I feel like I have to tell Julie that she has a 5 in her chop spot. So I think that's what I will do. We will just hold off on playing that 1 for just a moment. And we'll see what Julie does. Julie might give the 1 clue to Matt since he has a blue and red 1 the same as Julie does. So if she does, then I know my 1 is neither blue or red. If she gives the color, then I probably have 1 of either blue or red. Okay. So my 1 is probably neither blue nor red. Otherwise, Julie would not have given that clue to us. I see no reason now not to play my 1, and I will do so. I could get that 2 played somehow. Perhaps. I think just if Julie discards here, oh, she's telling me to play a 2. That plays a 1. See, now my issue is, yeah, I could get Julie to play a 2, but I don't know which 2 she has given me, and if it's the blue 2, it would be really bad for me to. I should play this because if it's not green, then she might have the possibility of bluffing Matt's green 2 out of his hand. So I'll play my 2. It is a blue 2. So it's the same thing as what I was going to give her, a 2 clue to get that out of her hand. So hopefully she can get this green 2 out somehow cleverly. Oh, she's giving a blue clue. That's just a straight play this card clue because it is a playable blue card. So he knows it's a blue 3 at this point. He's just looking to see if there's something more pressing that he needs to do. What should I do? Nobody's discarded anything yet. So honestly, these are very good discards from Julie. So I don't mind taking away you know, perhaps she has a good finesse if I have a green. Well, it couldn't be a finesse because it's already moved. So I'm going to give the clue to, or the 2 clue to Matt here. Because I don't mind taking that clue away from Julie. She has a lot of good discards. And I may or may not at this moment. She could not have finessed this out of his hand anyways. So it's a safe clue. And she did discard like I expected she might. And now we have a we've kind of hit a wall. We have our blues, greens, and reds started, but we don't, at least in the hands that I can see, have no playable cards in any of the hands. So there's not a good clue for me to give at this moment. There's nothing pressing in the discard pile. I'm going to go ahead and discard. They haven't told me about this card for a long time. It's probably not likely something that helps us at this moment. The idea being that the cards we get rid of here, when the new cards come in, these are the cards out of the deck in this area here come into our hand. These are the cards that we have been waiting on. So that's the idea of, if nobody's told you about a card in your hand for at least 2 rounds, then you have to assume that they are safe cards to be able to be discarded. So and in the 2 discard spots of my opponents here are cards that we do not mind them discarding. So Julie has given me a white clue. In the absence of anything strange happening here, I see no reason not to start playing from this end. I play the first. I will not play the second unless it's explicitly given to me in some way. I don't mind discards in either of my opponent's hands at this moment. So, and that is a playable card in Julie's finesse spot that came in. So we will look to see if there's something that can be done to get that out without making it, just going ahead flat out giving her the play clue. At the moment, I don't see anything for sure yet. I could give the red clue to Matt. He has a red 3. Julie would think that she has a red 2 in that play spot and probably play it. So Matt did discard the. Now see, that takes away the red clue to Matt at this moment. If I give the red clue to Matt, it would cause Julie to play this card. Probably. And then Matt would hold off because he would see that Julie played a green card and not a red card, so we would have a chance to save it. The issue is that Matt would very likely discard out of this spot and lose a 5. And that's not a risk that we can take at this moment. I'm actually quite surprised that the 3s did not get finessed out at all. Or my whites did not get finessed out in Julie's hand here. So it leads me to think that I probably have a white 3 here, or maybe a white 4. I want to give a 3 clue to Julie, but I cannot do that. I'm going to give her a green clue, just to let her know that that card can be played, and there's not really anything. There's not a good way to get that out any other way that I can see at this moment. So it's unfortunate. No, she went ahead and did an early save on the 5s. I assume that's an early save. I cannot see 5s in either of those colors being being a clue to play. I am confused as to why she gave that clue. But maybe it will become clear to me in a moment. Why did he say yep? Oh, does expert. Oh, she's asking a question about the levels on the site. We are by no means expert master Hanabi players, but we do like to play the game and play quite often. The fun games are the ones where there are very tricky situations that you must navigate through. The game requires, even if you're not playing, a lot of concentration sometimes, though. If you try to play it, I mean, you can play it casually, you're just not going to score 30 points every time. We like to score, 28, 29, 30 points every time we play. If we don't, we feel like we've failed. So, he went ahead and discarded. I gave her the play, and she did not take it. I'm actually, I think, because this 3 is a save as well, when I give the multi-clue here, he would not play out of this spot. He would not play the card. So I'm thinking if I give the 1 clue, Julie can give the multi-clue or the 3 clue after me. That will use 2 clues, will be at 3, but he will play the 1. So I'm going to give Matt the 1 clue here. And if Julie plays her 3, then we can come back and clue this later because I gave him a play here. Okay, she went ahead and did the save. I think she was pre-saving the 5. The 5, she was pre-saving the 5s because she knew the 3 was here. And she was afraid he would discard the 3, and then we would not have a chance to save both or all 3 of the 5s and the middle multicolor 3. So Matt will play the 1, which is a good thing. And then I will discard because I have been given no information on anything at this moment. I'm assuming Julie plays now. Yes. Matt likely discards the 4 unless he's got a good clue somewhere to give. And that I do not know. I would think if one of these was a 2, he would have finessed it out somehow here. With the 3 and 4 being in Julie's hand, I feel like that would have happened. But it has not. So I'm almost thinking this might be the 3 and 4 white that I'm holding rather than a 2. Red 4 does not need to be saved. Actually, he just discarded it. I'm going to give the 5 clue to Matt. And then let Julie finesse or bluff this white 2 out in some way if she can. I feel like one of these has to be a 3. I don't think any of these was a 2, because that would have been told to us at some point. And it looks like he is finessing the 2 out of, or she is finessing the 2 out of Matt's hand. The 3 red is something that has to be saved. And Julie has to know that. But I feel like I have to play the 3 here. If Julie will not discard, she would save the 3 red. I feel. My issue is when the save spot is also my finesse spot. I make a lot of mistakes in the game when that happens. Now I feel like Matt can probably get this white 4 out somehow. Unless my 4 is white. My white is 5. That is the only reason Matt gave that clue. I am positive of that. So I discard. And Julie will play, and she has been given a discard as well. Because of the white clue, I know that this is a 5. A yellow 4 does not need to be saved. Matt's whole hand has to be saved, so he is stuck in clue giving mode for sure until something changes. He's giving me a 2 clue, telling me to play. He's telling me to play this card. It must be a red or multicolor 2. I feel like I should play my white 5 first to give us a clue back, so that Julie has a clue to work with to maybe help Matt out of his situation with his hand here. I'm almost thinking the multicolor clue. If I have the 2 multicolor, giving a multicolor clue to Matt would be ideal, because it guarantees I get a play. Oh, I have a red 2, so she's giving a red play to Matt. Matt has to give a throwaway clue of some sort here, which could be tough. But, I mean, even if he clues me red, he has to give me a clue, not a... he cannot discard or do anything else out of his hand. He's got to wait for me to play my red 2 before he can play his green, or red 3. So... he's trying to figure out what throwaway clue he can give that will not send the wrong message. I'm almost thinking, apparently there's no good clue to give. So in this situation, it's almost like give a 5 clue again to Julie, which gives her no new information, but almost essentially lets him pass his turn. And she gave a 2 clue to Julie and told her she has no 2s in her hand. But it's essentially the same thing. And I must play a 2, and Julie must discard. That is the situation that was developed here. And everything she holds except for the 5 is discardable, so it is not a problem. Now I have an interesting situation. really nothing playable in my opponent's hands. Everything is safe to discard, but I've got no good clue to give, and I haven't been told about anything for a while, so I should discard, and I will. We are very clue poor this game, so we need to get some clues in some way. And I'm assuming Julie will probably discard this red one as well. Because unless I've got a good clue to give, but if I have a good clue, I know there's no good clue in Matt's hand. I would assume that she would wait for Matt to give that clue, but she took it away from him, so. This is interesting. Alright, so Julie was telling me that this is a blue 4 for sure. Matt is telling me that this is a red 4. I believe. But if it was a blue and a red 4, they would just give me the 4 clue. Because I would just play the blue 4 off of it. I see no other way. Other than this being a blue 4 and this being a red 4. That's what it has to be to me. Unless he's bluffing this out somehow. It is a red 4. Okay. So. I'm assuming he just didn't want to discard this card. If this is a blue 4, I don't know why she didn't just give the 4 clue. I must have lots of 4s that they want to save or something. Perhaps. Oh, now Matt is definitely bluffing this out in this situation. Huh. This must be, in my situation now, I think that this card here is a yellow 2, and this card here is a yellow 3. That is the only thing that makes sense to me at this moment. Very good clue here. This clue was very good. I have to tell him that. Now, he should play his 5 green, obviously. We need clues. He took the last clue. He's forcing us to play when he has all these 5s in his hand. Matt needs to play cards. He can't be telling us to play. He really needs to be playing. He's telling us to... He's telling us things. Why is he not playing? It's 5 green. He should have left this clue for me to give and played his 5 green. But it looks like we've made it anyways, so. Yes, it does look like we will get the 30 on this game, because Julie will play her 5, Matt can play her, well, she's discarding actually. She's letting Matt play. But there's enough plays now that it should not be a problem. I will discard. Actually, I'll just give a clue. And I'll give Julie the 5 clue. I was... She should have known it was that one anyways. But we did get a 30 out of this, so it was a good game. There was a tight one in the middle, but the very good yellow 4 clue was what really knocked it out of the park. So, because that let us finish up yellow very easily, and then we worked from there. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining me. We'll play another game. I will record it, but I will separate the videos. So you can join me in the next video if you want to see another match. Thank you. Bye-bye.